studies on its brain case have revealed that it's actually more related to another famous crocodilian, the alligator, as it's believed to have been a relatively slow grower. This idea stems from growth rings on its osteoderms, which indicate that individuals took
They have growth wings?
the Cretaceous, a period well known for having produced absolute monsters. It was during this time that the world saw the emergence of not only the largest terrestrial predator ever, but also the largest terrestrial animal to have ever lived.
Oh my god, look at that thing. Hey, imagine the first guy who found their fossil.
Both of these titans happen to be dinosaurs which lived on land. But this doesn't mean that the dinosaurs were the only ones who got the privilege to enjoy being massive during the Cretaceous, as many non-dinosaurs also became excessively large.
I did not know that these birds get that big. How does that work? Because our bird right now, they are a lot lighter despite of their sizes, right? I think the heaviest flying bird right now is a type of eagle. So for these guys, do they hunt smaller preys? Looking at them, while their heads look like birds, their wings, it looks more like a bat. You know what I mean?
Even crocodilians became oversized during this period. And approximately 82 million years ago in North America, the world witnessed the arrival of the largest crocodilian of all time, the Deinosuchus.
Yep.
This Goliath has long been on the radar of paleontologists, as it was first discovered all the way back in the 1850s when large teeth were found in the state of North Carolina. However, the founders of these teeth originally thought them to have belonged to a pliosaur, and it wasn't until more remains were found that they understood that their original classification was off.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense, huh? Because both of them are reptiles. How do you know they belong to another animal?
Although, what they did get right from the get-go was that this creature was massive and imposing in real life. Traits that inspired them when naming it, as they gave it the name Deinosuchus, meaning terrible crocodile. They also gave it the species name Hatcheri, and thus Deinosuchus hatcheri was born. With the known remains at the time, they claimed that adult individuals of this species could reach 49 feet or 14.9 meters from snout to tail.
A crocodile that is 15 meters long. I need to mentally visualize it for a second. I mean, goddamn. Another question that just came to my mind, reacting to the past few videos, is that when you grow in size, your mass grows disproportionately. We know that preys are plentiful. It's a massive carnage every day, hunting, whatever. But for these giant monstrosities, just how powerful, how dense are their bones? It's not just the Deinosuchus, but the whole dinosaur in general. In the water, I get it, right? For these land dinosaurs to grow to that size and running around, I don't know, I guess it's just quite difficult to imagine.
Weighing well over 10 tons. This made it unfathomably large, but as the years went by, these estimates were proven to be exaggerations. Though, unlike many species that are first claimed to be huge and then downsized to relatively normal sizes,
this is the, what is it? Oh shit. Someone commented and told me about this fish that has this scissor-like teeth, right? It's a pretty interesting, pretty cool fish too. It's a lot smaller than it was thought to be, huh?
The Deinosuchus has actually kept their impressive stature, as new specimens have only confirmed that this truly was a lineage of giant crocodilians. So far, 4 known species of Deinosuchus have been confirmed, which along with the Hatcheri include the rugosus, riograndensis, and schwimmeri. All 4 are thought to have been giants, with Hatcheri and riograndensis being the largest. Across the board, paleontologists estimate that the average adult Deinosuchus would have been between 8 to 10 meters or 26 to 33 feet, while weighing anywhere from 2.5 to 5 tons.
Holy, there are different builds in them. You see the snouts on the Croizati? That's a very different snout. So these probably hunted smaller prey? Oh, that's interesting. I thought they would be, more similar in terms of build and feeding habits, but even through the shadows, they are quite different.
Making them more than twice the size of a male hippo, and some individuals were able to grow even larger. Currently, the best studied large remains have come from the riograndensis species. with some remains appearing to have been 1.5 times larger than the two smaller species, Rugosus and Schwimmeri. This has led to paleontologists estimating that the biggest Rio Grandensis adults could reach a staggering 12 meters or 39 feet in length, while perhaps weighing as much as 8.5 tons. At this size, it's also considered to be the largest crocodilian to have ever lived, with only the Sarcosuchus and the Parasaurus coming close. However, the Sarcosuchus is generally excluded from this debate as it wasn't really a crocodilian, rather a felidosaur, and is currently thought to have weighed around 5 tons. And the Parasaurus is now generally thought to have been smaller as well, with the absolute largest estimates on the Parasaurus's weight being around 8.4 tons, making it just a bit smaller. But being the largest crocodilian may not have been enough for the Deinosuchus hatcheri, as a few think that the Deinosuchus hatcheri got far bigger than its already massive brethren. Specifically, 2 specimens have been touted as being significantly larger than any individuals found before, with the highest estimates giving them a length of over 14 meters or 46 feet, and a staggering weight of 13 to 14 tons. These numbers, however, have received much scrutiny, and since then, multiple studies have stated that these 2 specimens have not yet had their sizes fully confirmed.
I mean, this is kind of expected, right? For dinosaurs, or like crocodiles, snakes, these apex predators that catches people's eyes, what I've realized is that people are generally a lot more willing to make claims that have no evidence to support them when, they can get more attention, right? But personally, I don't know. Maybe I don't get it, but the 10-meter croc and a 14-meter croc seems pretty much the same to me. I don't want to be anywhere close to either one. It's not like having a meter or 2 less is somehow making them friendlier, right?
Meaning that for now, the vast majority of paleontologists cite 39 feet or 12 meters as being the largest possible size for the Deinosuchus.
There we go.
This still makes it exceptionally larger than the largest crocodilian alive today, the saltwater crocodile, which on average is around 8 times smaller than the largest Deinosuchus.
And that thing's still huge.
This extreme contrast between the two makes it almost hard to believe that the Deinosuchus is related to crocodiles, but it indeed is. Although studies on its brain case have revealed that it's actually more related to another famous crocodilian, the alligator, and is a member of the same superfamily, the Alligatoroidea. This is one of the 3 superfamilies that make up the order of Crocodilian, and consists of alligators, caimans, plus any extinct members more related to alligators than the 2 other groups.
Why are birds also in this category? I'm not smart enough for this. Let's keep going.
Along with its brain case, the Deinosuchus was also surprisingly similar to the alligator in terms of looks, possessing both a body and snout that
the snout. I was gonna say.
An unfortunate occurrence for its victims, as a giant alligator lookalike would have been quite the terrifying sight. However, besides its general similarities, the Deinosuchus was actually very different from other crocs, and sported a skull shape not seen in any living or extinct genus. Additionally, the size of its skull is something rarely seen in any predator, with the biggest ones being around 5.5 feet or 1.7 meters long, about the same length as the skull of an adult Spinosaurus. The skull wasn't only big, but also extremely dense and robust, leaving many to believe that it had one hellish bite, but perhaps not as bad as one would think. As in 2002, a study was published that reported a bite force of only 18,000 newtons. This is more than enough to break any bone, but it's still relatively weak for its size, exemplified by the much smaller saltwater crocodile that has a bite force of 16,500 newtons. However, a new study that came out a few years later disagreed with the original estimates and claimed that this ancient croc had an unfathomably powerful bite of over 100,000 newtons. Nearly double that of a T-Rex.
One that I heard about.
These 2 studies give the Deinosuchus one of the widest ranges in bite forces, although there is evidence to suggest that its true bite force leaned towards the higher end of this range. Specifically, all of its 22 teeth were extremely robust and built to withstand high forces without breaking, and some even appear to have been highly specialized for demolishing large bones, as those close to the rear of the jaws were short, rounded, and blunt. All of this would point to the Deinosuchus truly having a massive bite force. Along with being very durable, the teeth were also quite large, being about the size of a banana.
What banana? Basically, they bite with the front using it as a grip, right? And when you see animal chew, they try to place their prey when they're trying to crush something as close to their actual jaw muscle as possible, right? You see that in dogs, you see that in cats as well. You see that in basically most of the predators that have serrated teeth. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Along with its body size and bite has led paleontologists to believe that it may have preyed on the biggest animals around, the dinosaurs. Hadrosaurs in particular are thought to have been a primary source of food for this oversized croc, as several tail vertebrae in Texas belonging to duckbills have bites in them that would match the Deinosuchus. Yet, thanks to the Deinosuchus' size, they weren't the only ones at risk. Other dinosaurs, such as a mix of ceratops and ankylosaurs in its environment, may not have been safe either.
I mean, is there really any dinosaurs that are safe from it? Because even if you're a bird, I've seen crocodiles do the tail whip thing that launches them out of the water. And also, all dinosaurs needs to drink. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, you need to drink fresh water. And that feeds directly into their feeding habits. They just wade in the water. I mean, now considering their design and their build, I guess they hit the jackpot of evolution because they are busted.
Even large theropods could have been targeted by this menace, as certain bite marks on the Appalachiosaurus have been attributed to the Deinosuchus. And it's even thought that this monster actually played a role in theropod sizes in the area that it inhabited, as scientists have noted that within its eastern range, no theropod came close to it in size, leading to the assumption that it was its region's apex predator. It is thought that the Deinosuchus would have employed ambush tactics to capture dinosaurs, and then utilize its crushing power to fatally injure any unfortunate victim. Furthermore, like modern crocodiles, it is assumed that this Goliath would have been capable of performing the death roll, making it that much more deadly.
And also, you have to think about what would they bite? If you're smaller or similar size to them, depends on the build, right? They might go for the neck, they might go for body, whatever. But if you're larger than even the Deinosuchus itself, all it had to do is bite your leg and drag you into the water. So like drowning is also another tactic that they can use, right? And they probably do.
Fortunately for large dinosaurs, it does seem that certain locations in the US were safe havens from the reign of terror of the Deinosuchus, as particular areas had populations of individuals that were much smaller in stature than normal, likely a result of various factors. These smaller Deinosuchus were more like modern-day alligators, that they were opportunistic feeders and focused on large turtles, fish, and small dinosaurs rather than the larger ones. Another lucky break for its prey came from its growth rate, as it's believed to have been a relatively slow grower. This idea stems from growth rings on its osteoderms, which indicate that individuals took.
They have growth wings? Do all crocodiles have that? I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah, it looks pretty close. It's not a huge gap, so yeah, I guess that explains it.
Took around 35 years to reach full size, though through its long growing period, juveniles were by no means defenseless or harmless, as they were of course still relatively large and retained their formidable bites. Furthermore, all Deinosuchus also had built-in armor via osteoderms, which were bony plates that ran down their backs. These plates were unusually large and heavy, granting them a high level of protection against most attacks from terrestrial and aquatic animals. And the osteoderms didn't stop protection, as they also acted as attachment points for connective tissue, increasing the load-bearing capacity of its body and allowing it to walk fairly efficiently outside of water despite its size. These osteoderms, along with many other useful traits, made the Deinosuchus one potent killing machine, and its success is represented by its extensive range, with remains being found throughout the United States and northern Mexico. During its heyday, America was split down the middle by a shallow sea, the Western Interior Seaway. Deinosuchus was present on both sides of this seaway, inhabiting 10 different US states. Discovered specimens have shown that it preferred estuaries, which is a partially enclosed coastal body of brackish water with rivers or streams flowing into it while having free connection to the open sea.
I mean, that makes sense, right? So you have the space to grow, a larger pond also mean more prey. It's connected to seawater. I don't know if that provides an advantage, but I'd say temperature regulation. Being connected to the seawater means the water temperature would be much stable, no?
Besides in estuaries, remains have also been found in what would have been freshwater lakes and rivers, and
Makes
even
sense.
marine deposits, meaning that it might have ventured out to the deep parts of the sea and possibly even the ocean. Although some think these remains were displaced after the animal died.
I don't think there's a croc that goes into the deep ocean, right? Because it doesn't really make that much sense when their entire build is built on ambushing on the water side and being amphibious. So I don't really think there is a reason for them to venture into the deep ocean. Yeah, I don't know.
The Deinosuchus truly lived in an area diverse with dinosaurs, but non-dinosaurs were just as plentiful. Unfortunately for all of these animals, they did have to endure the reign of the Deinosuchus for millions of years. Yet their big break would come approximately 73 million years ago, when the Deinosuchus essentially vanished from fossil formations without a trace. Currently, there are no concrete ideas on why it went extinct, and most are skeptical of putting the blame on its size, as there are many other large animals that fared just fine.
So maybe they got outcompeted by smaller relatives? Because if you think about it, their size means that they can only occupy a large body of water, right? And when the sea levels start dropping, these places would also shrink. Because of their slow growing period, they might get preyed upon while they are still small by a smaller relative. From my understanding, they are not picky eaters. They will 100% eat other crocs. If I had to guess, that's probably why. But I'll be honest, I thought that there would be more information about them. For example, like how much of a force their bone plates can take, how thick they are, just how strong it is compared to the modern crocs. And also the bite force. How do we have a range of bite force that large? But anyways, great video. I love crocodiles. I love alligators. I don't want to get near them, but I think they're cool. And like always, the link to the original video will be down in the description. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time.